Mental strength is not just a desirable trait. It is an essential foundation for leading a fulfilling and resilient life. It is the quiet power that enables us to confront challenges, pursue our goals, and navigate the uncertainties of existence with grace. Yet, cultivating this strength requires more than innate talent or skill. It involves recognizing and overcoming the habits that weaken our minds, a journey that Buddhism illuminates with profound teachings and timeless wisdom. Imagine the mind as a garden. If left untended, weeds of negativity, fear, and doubt can overrun it, choking the growth of hope and clarity. However, with mindful effort, we can cultivate this garden into a sanctuary of resilience and positivity. Let us begin by examining one of the most insidious weeds, the habit of harboring a negative mindset. A negative mindset is like a heavy cloud that obscures the sunlight of joy and optimism. When we constantly focus on what's wrong, we miss the beauty of what is right. Consider a day when a minor inconvenience, a missed train, for instance, colors the entirety of our mood, overshadowing the moments of kindness or success that might have followed. This habit, though seemingly trivial, builds a pattern where negativity becomes our default lens, casting life's vibrant colors into shades of gray. Buddhism offers a pathway to disrupt this cycle through the practice of mindfulness. By paying attention to our thoughts without judgment, we create space to recognize and redirect negativity. Imagine standing by a river, watching leaves float by. Each leaf represents a thought, and instead of clinging to the dark ones, we let them drift away, making room for lighter, brighter ones. This practice is not about denial but about choice, choosing to focus on the positive aspects of our lives while acknowledging that the negative does not define us. The practice of loving-kindness meditation, or metta, further strengthens this shift. By directing warm and compassionate thoughts first toward ourselves and then outward to others, we dissolve the barriers of negativity. For instance, repeating phrases like, "May I be happy," "May others find peace," transforms our internal dialogue, gradually replacing self-doubt with compassion and despair with hope. This intentional cultivation of kindness is like sweeping away the clouds, allowing the sunlight of positivity to shine through. The Buddhist principle of impermanence offers another layer of insight. Everything, from joy to sorrow, is transient. Recognizing this helps us face difficulties with resilience, knowing they will pass like stormy weather giving way to clear skies. Consider a challenging phase in your life that once felt insurmountable but eventually faded into memory. Understanding impermanence allows us to hold on to hope even in our darkest moments, fostering a mindset that sees challenges as temporary rather than defining. Closely tied to the habit of negativity is the tendency to complain about things beyond our control. Complaining often feels cathartic in the moment, but traps us in a cycle of dissatisfaction. It is like gripping a hot coal. The more we hold on, the more it burns us. Buddhism encourages us to practice acceptance, not as passive resignation, but as an active acknowledgement of life's unpredictability. Acceptance is like dancing in the rain instead of waiting for the storm to pass. By embracing what we cannot change, we free ourselves from the mental anguish of resistance. For example, think of a situation where a delayed flight disrupted your plans. Complaining might momentarily vent frustration, but it does little to alter the circumstances. Instead, focusing on what is within your power, such as using the time to read, reflect, or connect with fellow travelers, transforms the experience. This shift from complaint to action embodies the Buddhist teaching of letting go. Letting go is not about indifference. It is about releasing the tight grip on what burdens us, much like setting a balloon free to float into the sky. Another habit that weakens the mind is the reluctance to express ourselves. Holding back our thoughts and emotions is akin to bottling up a fizzy drink. Eventually, the pressure builds, leading to an explosion of stress or anxiety. Authentic expression, as emphasized by Buddhism's principle of right speech, fosters clarity and connection. When we communicate with honesty, kindness, and mindfulness, our words become bridges rather than barriers. Imagine a time when you avoided addressing a misunderstanding with a friend, only to feel the weight of unspoken words grow heavier over time. Now contrast that with a moment when you expressed your feelings openly and thoughtfully, finding resolution and deeper understanding. This act of expression is not merely a release but a pathway to strengthen relationships and unburden the mind. Even nonverbal communication, such as gestures or body language, contributes to authentic expression, allowing us to connect beyond words. Blaming others for our problems is another common habit that undermines mental strength. It is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each one representing a grudge or resentment. This habit shifts responsibility outward, leaving us powerless to enact change. Buddhism's teachings on karma and personal responsibility offer a powerful antidote. Karma reminds us that our actions shape our experiences. By embracing this principle, we shift from being spectators of our lives to active participants, capable of steering our course. Forgiveness plays a crucial role in breaking free from the blame game. Forgiving others and ourselves is not about condoning wrongdoing but about unburdening our hearts. Imagine holding on to anger towards someone who wronged you years ago. That anger, while justified, does not harm them as much as it harms you, like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Forgiveness is the antidote, a release that lightens the soul and empowers the mind to focus on growth rather than grievance. The distinction between fantasizing and visualizing further highlights the importance of grounding our aspirations in reality. Fantasizing is akin to building castles in the air. It offers temporary escape but lacks substance. Visualization, on the other hand, is like crafting a map toward achievable goals. When we visualize with intention and clarity, we align our dreams with actionable steps, creating a bridge between imagination and reality. Consider the difference between daydreaming about becoming a musician and actively practicing an instrument daily while envisioning your growth. The former is fleeting, the latter builds momentum. Buddhism's emphasis on right intention and right action aligns perfectly with this practice, urging us to dream with purpose and act with conviction. Relationships, too, are central to mental strength. Neglecting them is like letting a garden wither from lack of care. Personal connections provide support, joy, and a sense of belonging. Yet, in the busyness of life, it is easy to prioritize tasks over people. Buddhism reminds us of the impermanence of time, urging us to cherish our relationships while we can. Simple acts, a heartfelt conversation, a shared meal, or a thoughtful gesture, nurture these bonds, creating a support system that sustains us through life's storms. As we explore these habits and their antidotes, a pattern emerges. Mental strength is not about avoiding challenges, but about responding to them with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. It is about tending to the garden of the mind with care and intention, pulling out the weeds and planting seeds of resilience and joy. This journey is deeply personal, yet universally relevant, inviting each of us to reflect, grow, and thrive. If this exploration resonates with you, I invite you to join our community at Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can delve deeper into the teachings that illuminate our paths, creating lives enriched by strength, connection, and purpose. Subscribe to our channel and let us walk this journey of transformation and empowerment together, one mindful step at a time. Building on the foundational practices to cultivate mental strength, we now turn our attention to deeper habits that challenge our resilience and the Buddhist teachings that offer profound guidance in overcoming them. As we journey further, let us explore how the mind can break free from the constraints of unmanaged emotions, excessive control, and attachment to the past and external opinions, finding a balanced and empowered state of being. Unmanaged emotions often feel like a raging storm, carrying us in its tumultuous currents and leaving us without direction. This tendency to let emotions rule us weakens our mental strength because it blurs our ability to think clearly and act wisely. Imagine a moment when anger or fear dictated your reaction, leading to words or actions you later regretted. This cycle of emotional reactivity not only undermines our relationships, but also saps our inner peace. Buddhism offers a transformative approach to emotions through mindfulness, a practice of observing our feelings without judgment. It is akin to standing on the riverbank, watching the water flow by without jumping in. For instance, when anger arises, Mindfulness encourages us to recognize it as a passing emotion rather than letting it define our actions. By creating this space, we gain the power to respond rather than react. Loving kindness meditation further complements this practice by planting seeds of compassion in our hearts, allowing us to meet our emotions with kindness rather than resistance. Consider the story of a young woman who struggled with overwhelming anxiety before public speaking. She felt paralyzed by the fear of judgment and failure. Through mindfulness, she learned to sit with her anxiety, observing the physical sensations and thoughts it brought without trying to suppress them. Gradually, she discovered that the fear began to lose its grip, giving way to a sense of calm determination. This transformation illustrates how mindfulness empowers us to steer through emotional storms with resilience and clarity. The desire to control every aspect of life is another habit that drains mental strength. It is like trying to hold water in your hands. No matter how tightly you grip, it slips away. This need for control often stems from a fear of uncertainty, leaving us exhausted and frustrated when life inevitably defies our expectations. Buddhism's teachings on non-attachment provide a liberating perspective. By letting go of the illusion of control, we free ourselves from unnecessary burdens and open ourselves to the flow of life. Imagine planning a perfect outdoor event only to face unexpected rain. While the initial disappointment is natural, clinging to the idea of a perfect day only amplifies frustration. Embracing impermanence, a core Buddhist principle, allows us to adapt gracefully, finding joy in the new possibilities that arise, perhaps a cozy indoor gathering with heartfelt conversations. This mindset shift from resistance to acceptance is not about giving up, but about aligning with the natural ebb and flow of life. Mindfulness becomes a powerful ally in navigating this journey. By anchoring ourselves in the present moment, we learn to distinguish between what we can influence and what we must release. For example, a student preparing for an important exam can focus on studying diligently while letting go of the outcome, trusting that their efforts, rather than their anxiety, will yield the best results. This practice of mindful effort fosters a sense of empowerment and inner peace, even amidst uncertainty. Dwelling on the past is another common habit that diminishes mental strength. It is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with old regrets, grievances, and unfulfilled desires. This attachment to what has already happened prevents us from fully engaging with the present and moving forward. Buddhism's emphasis on forgiveness and impermanence provides a pathway to liberation. Forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, is like setting down the backpack, allowing us to walk freely. Impermanence reminds us that clinging to the past is futile, as everything is in a constant state of change. Consider a man who spent years blaming himself for a failed relationship, replaying moments of regret and longing for a different outcome. Through practicing forgiveness and mindfulness, he began to see the relationship as a valuable teacher rather than a source of pain. He acknowledged his mistakes, made amends where possible, and gradually let go of the weight of self-blame. This shift not only brought him peace, but also opened the door to new, healthier connections. Letting go of the past also involves embracing the beauty of the present. When we focus on what is here and now, we create space for gratitude, joy, and growth. A simple exercise to cultivate this awareness is to pause each day and reflect on 3 things you appreciate in the moment: a kind word from a friend, the warmth of sunlight, or the satisfaction of completing a task. This practice roots us in the present, reminding us that life's richness is found in its fleeting moments. External opinions can be another significant source of mental strain, especially when we tie our self-worth to the judgments of others. It is like sailing a boat that is constantly tossed by the winds of approval and criticism, leaving us directionless. Buddhism's teachings on equanimity and self-acceptance offer a stabilizing force. Equanimity is the practice of maintaining balance amidst praise and blame, much like standing on solid ground while the winds blow around us. Self-acceptance, meanwhile, encourages us to see ourselves through our own eyes rather than through the distorted lens of external expectations. Think of a young artist hesitant to share their work for fear of criticism. By cultivating equanimity, they learn to appreciate feedback without letting it define their self-worth. Each critique becomes an opportunity for growth, rather than a verdict on their abilities. This mindset fosters creativity and resilience, allowing them to pursue their passion with authenticity and courage. Breaking free from the habit of overvaluing external opinions also involves nurturing self-love. Acts of kindness toward ourselves, such as setting boundaries, celebrating small victories, or simply taking time to rest, reinforce the understanding that our worth is intrinsic. These practices create a shield against the arrows of judgment, empowering us to live in alignment with our values rather than in pursuit of approval. As we delve into these habits and their remedies, it becomes clear that mental strength is not a fixed trait, but a skill that can be cultivated through intentional practice. Each step we take, whether observing our emotions, releasing control, forgiving the past, or embracing our authentic selves, brings us closer to a state of balance and empowerment. This journey invites us to reflect on our own lives. Where are we holding on too tightly? What emotions need acknowledgement and release? How can we embrace the present more fully and navigate the opinions of others with grace? By exploring these questions and integrating the teachings of Buddhism, we not only strengthen our minds but also enrich our lives with meaning and connection. If this resonates with you, consider becoming part of our community at Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can explore the timeless wisdom of these teachings and their relevance in our daily challenges, creating a space where growth and resilience thrive. Subscribe to our channel to join this journey of self-discovery and transformation, one mindful step at a time. As we journey further into understanding and building mental strength, we encounter habits that subtly undermine our capacity for resilience and fulfillment. These habits, often deeply ingrained, require intentional effort and mindfulness to overcome. In this segment, we explore how fantasizing, neglecting relationships, and losing ourselves to emotional storms weaken the mind. While Buddhist teachings provide profound tools for transformation, fantasizing, though often mistaken for hope or ambition, can disconnect us from the present moment and leave us adrift in illusions. It is like building castles in the air, beautiful but without foundation. When our minds are consumed by fantasies, we lose sight of the steps needed to achieve real progress. Consider someone who dreams of a successful career but spends their time imagining accolades rather than working toward their goals. This habit, while momentarily comforting, ultimately leads to frustration and stagnation. Buddhism offers a grounding alternative through the practice of visualization. Unlike fantasizing, visualization involves creating a clear and actionable picture of our aspirations. It is like crafting a treasure map, where each step leads closer to the goal. For example, instead of dreaming about publishing a book, a writer might visualize completing one chapter at a time, celebrating each milestone along the way. This approach aligns with the Buddhist principles of right intention and right action, bridging the gap between desire and reality. Mindfulness further supports this shift by anchoring us in the present. By observing our thoughts without attachment, we learn to distinguish between fantasies and actionable goals. A student preparing for exams might notice daydreams of achieving top grades. Mindfulness helps them redirect their focus to studying, turning their aspirations into tangible outcomes. This practice not only cultivates mental strength, but also fosters a sense of accomplishment grounded in effort and presence. Neglecting personal relationships is another habit that subtly erodes mental resilience. Relationships are like gardens. Without care and attention, they wither. Yet, in the pursuit of individual goals, it is easy to overlook the importance of meaningful connections. Buddhism emphasizes the impermanence of life, reminding us to cherish our time with loved ones while we have it. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to nurture bonds that provide support, joy, and perspective. Imagine a professional who prioritizes work over family, gradually drifting apart from those who matter most. Over time, this disconnection breeds loneliness and regret. In contrast, someone who dedicates even a small amount of quality time to their relationships experiences a sense of belonging and strength. Simple acts, such as sharing a meal or listening attentively, can transform relationships into sources of mutual growth and support. Buddhism's teachings on mindfulness and presence offer practical ways to prioritize relationships. When we are fully present with others, we create moments of genuine connection. Consider a parent who sets aside their phone during dinner to engage with their children. This act of mindfulness fosters trust and deepens bonds, enriching both parties' lives. Communication, too, plays a vital role. Speaking and listening with compassion, as encouraged by the principle of right speech, strengthens understanding and resolves conflicts, creating harmony in relationships. Emotions, though integral to the human experience, can become overwhelming storms that derail our mental balance. When we let emotions like anger, fear, or jealousy rule us, we lose the ability to think clearly and act wisely. It is like being swept away by a powerful current, struggling to stay afloat. Buddhism teaches that emotions are not enemies to be suppressed, but waves to be observed and understood. Mindfulness serves as a lifeline in navigating emotional storms. By pausing and observing our feelings without judgment, we create a space between stimulus and response. For instance, when faced with criticism, a mindful individual might recognize the initial surge of defensiveness, but choose to respond calmly rather than react impulsively. This practice not only diffuses tension, but also fosters self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Loving-kindness meditation complements this approach by encouraging compassion toward ourselves and others. When jealousy arises, for example, directing positive thoughts toward the person we envy can dissolve resentment and foster empathy. This shift transforms emotions from obstacles into opportunities for growth and connection. One powerful example of mastering emotions comes from the story of a young monk who struggled with anger toward a fellow disciple. Through mindfulness and loving-kindness meditation, the monk gradually replaced his anger with understanding, recognizing that the other disciple's actions stemmed from their own struggles. This transformation not only restored peace to the monk's heart, but also strengthened their relationship, demonstrating the power of Buddhist practices in cultivating emotional resilience. Integrating these teachings into daily life requires commitment and practice. Simple mindfulness exercises, such as focusing on the breath or observing sensations in the body, build the foundation for greater emotional awareness. Over time, these practices create a buffer against emotional reactivity, allowing us to navigate challenges with clarity and composure. As we reflect on these habits and their remedies, a common theme emerges. Mental strength is deeply tied to our ability to engage with life intentionally and compassionately. Whether through grounding our aspirations, nurturing our relationships, or mastering our emotions, we unlock the potential for growth and fulfillment. This journey invites us to consider our own lives. Are we caught in the trap of fantasies that distract from actionable goals? Have we neglected relationships that could provide joy and support? Do we allow emotions to control our responses, or do we navigate them with mindfulness and compassion? By addressing these questions and embracing Buddhist teachings, we pave the way for a life of resilience and connection. If these reflections resonate with you, I encourage you to join our community at Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can explore the wisdom of Buddhist teachings and their relevance in cultivating mental strength and harmony. Subscribe to our channel to continue this journey of self-discovery and transformation, where each step brings us closer to a balanced and empowered state of being. As we reach the culmination of this exploration, we turn our attention to the final habits that challenge mental strength. The compulsion to control everything, dwelling on the past, and obsessing over others' opinions. These tendencies, though common, can quietly erode our resilience and clarity. By addressing them with mindfulness and Buddhist wisdom, we can achieve a profound transformation, fostering mental freedom and authenticity. The desire to control every aspect of life often stems from a fear of uncertainty. It is like trying to steer a ship in a storm while attempting to calm the seas, a futile and exhausting endeavor. This habit weakens the mind by trapping us in frustration and disappointment when life inevitably defies our expectations. Buddhism's principle of non-attachment offers a powerful antidote, teaching us to let go of the illusion of control and embrace the impermanence of all things. Imagine planning a perfect vacation only to face unforeseen delays and weather changes. Clinging to the idea of perfection amplifies disappointment, but accepting the situation with grace allows us to adapt and find joy in unexpected moments. This shift from resistance to acceptance is not about resignation, but about aligning with life's natural flow. Non-attachment encourages us to focus on what we can influence while releasing what we cannot, much like tending to a garden without trying to control the weather. Mindfulness serves as a practical tool in navigating this practice. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we learn to distinguish between areas where effort is fruitful and where surrender is liberating. A business owner, for example, might focus on providing excellent service while letting go of the uncontrollable variables of market trends. This mindset reduces stress and fosters a sense of empowerment, enabling us to navigate challenges with clarity and composure. Dwelling on the past is another habit that undermines mental strength. It is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with old regrets, grievances, and missed opportunities. This attachment to what has already happened prevents us from fully experiencing the present and moving forward. Buddhism's teachings on forgiveness and impermanence offer a path to liberation. Forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, allows us to release the burden of guilt and resentment. Impermanence reminds us that the past, like everything else, is transient and cannot define our future. Consider someone who constantly replays a failed business venture in their mind, haunted by what-ifs and should-haves. Through forgiveness and mindfulness, they can shift their perspective, viewing the experience as a lesson rather than a loss. This transformation not only alleviates the weight of regret, but also opens the door to new opportunities. By letting go of the past, we create space for growth and joy in the present. Practicing gratitude further enriches this process. When we focus on the blessings of the present moment, the past hold on us begins to wane. A simple daily practice of writing down 3 things we are grateful for, a kind gesture, a beautiful sunset, or a moment of laughter, anchors us in the here and now. This shift in focus transforms our outlook, fostering a sense of contentment and possibility. Finally, worrying about what others think and say can be a significant drain on mental energy. It is like carrying a mirror that reflects everyone else's opinions, leaving no space to see our true selves. This habit ties our self-worth to external validation, making us vulnerable to the ever-changing tides of praise and criticism. Buddhism's teachings on equanimity and self-acceptance provide a stabilizing force. Equanimity encourages us to maintain balance amidst external judgments, while self-acceptance reminds us that our worth is intrinsic and not defined by others' perceptions. Think of an artist hesitant to share their work for fear of criticism. By cultivating equanimity, they learn to appreciate feedback without letting it dictate their self-esteem. Each critique becomes an opportunity for growth rather than a threat to their identity. This practice of self-acceptance empowers them to create authentically, unburdened by the need for approval. Breaking free from this habit also involves nurturing self-love. Acts of kindness toward ourselves, such as setting boundaries, celebrating our achievements, or simply taking time to rest, reinforce the understanding that our value comes from within. These practices create a shield against the arrows of judgment, enabling us to live authentically and confidently. As we integrate these teachings into our lives, a profound realization emerges. Mental strength is not about eliminating challenges, but about transforming how we respond to them. By letting go of control, releasing the past, and embracing our true selves, we unlock the potential for a life of resilience, clarity, and joy. Reflecting on this journey, we are invited to consider our own habits. Where are we holding on too tightly, and how can we loosen our grip? What aspects of the past are we ready to release? How can we cultivate self-acceptance and equanimity in the face of external opinions? These questions guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the path to mental strength. As we conclude, let us carry forward the wisdom of these teachings into our daily lives. If this exploration resonates with you, I warmly invite you to join our community at Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can delve deeper into these timeless principles, supporting one another in cultivating strength, compassion, and authenticity. Subscribe to our channel to continue this journey of growth and transformation, where each step brings us closer to a life of balance and fulfillment.